morning, students. How was your night? We will continue our class from where we stopped last week. Last week we talked about a magnetic field around a conductor carrying current. Then we went down to method of making magnets, and today our class today will be based on method of making magnets. Then last week we talked about two types of method of making magnet. We said electrical method and by contact. So we actually finished the electrical method last week, and today we'll start by explaining by contact method. By contact method is also divided into two. The first one is called the single touch method, and the second one is called divided touch method. Then in single touch method, the already made magnet will be placed on a specimen placed on a bench. The magnet is then struck along its length with one end of a bar magnet. The magnet is kept in an inclined position as shown in the diagram below and dragged along the specimen from one end A to the other end B and lifted well away from the specimen and brought again to the end A. The process is repeated several times. So this is the diagram of single touch method. If you look at the diagram, you will see a bar magnet. You will see a bar magnet taken down toward the end of specimen at end A. The north pole of the bar magnet is placed on the specimen toward end A and will be dragged along the specimen toward end B. So if you look at the magnet we use to magnetize the specimen, the north pole of the magnet used is placed on the specimen, which means the point at which the north pole of the magnet is placed becomes the north pole of the specimen, and the other end where the bar magnet is dragged to become the south pole of the specimen. So thereby the specimen becomes a magnet. The essence of this is that the magnet we brought on the specimen rearrange the magnetic dipole of the magnetic material we use, which is soft iron. So when the magnetic dipole of the material is rearranged in a well repeated pattern, the object becomes a magnet. Then divided touch method. In divided touch method, we make use of two different bar magnets, and the specimen will be placed on a table as usual, and the two bar magnets will be taken to the center of the specimen as shown in the diagram as you are seeing it. The north pole of the north pole of the bar magnet will be taken to the center of the specimen, and the south pole of the other magnet will be taken to also the center as you see it. Then the two of them will be dragged simultaneously toward each end. So the center of the specimen becomes north and south, while the end of the specimen, one end becomes the south and the other end becomes the north. How do you determine which side becomes the south and which side becomes the north? If the specimen you use, if the bar magnet you use the north pole of the magnet to touch the center, the end at which you drag it to become the south. So if you use the south of a bar magnet to touch the center of the specimen, the end at which you drag the south pole becomes a north. So this is how to determine the polarity of the specimens. So thereby one end of the specimen becomes the south and the other end becomes the north. Then we'll go down to demagnetization. What is demagnetization? Demagnetization is process by which already made magnet is made unmagnetized, or it's made to lose its magnetism. When a magnet is made to lose its magnetism, the magnet is being demagnetized. So that simply means if the process of a magnet losing its magnetism is called demagnetization, and this can be achieved in three different ways. Number one, we can achieve this through electrical method. Number 2, we can achieve this through mechanical method, and number 3, we can achieve this through heating method. To demagnetize a magnetic material, a magnet through electrical method, the magnet is placed inside a solenoid. Thank God we treated that particular topic, solenoid, previously before now. I believe every one of you understand what a solenoid is. So the magnet is placed inside a solenoid through which an alternating current. What's an alternating current? We know that a current that fluctuates forth and back is an alternating current. Is flowing, in which an alternating current is flowing. The solenoid is placed with its axis pointing in the east-west direction. The reason for this is that we already know that magnet is always having north and south pole. So for you to demagnetize a magnet, you must arrange it in a way that its north pole becomes the east, while the south pole becomes the west. In that manner, the magnetic dipole will disorganize. The magnetic dipole in the magnet will disorganize and become jumble. So when that happens, the magnet becomes an ordinary magnetic material. So this is achieved. Then the solenoid is placed with its axis pointing in the east and west direction. After a few seconds, the magnet is slowly withdrawn out of the solenoid to a long distance away. The rapid reversal in the direction of the alternating current causes the material to reverse in polarity several times in seconds. This process demagnetizes the magnet. This is the most effective and efficient way of demagnetizing a magnet. Let us examine the other way of demagnetizing magnet. In mechanical method, what do we do when we want to demagnetize a magnetic material in mechanical method? What we do is this process is involved hammering a magnet hard when it is pointing in an east-west direction. Then in heating method, what we do here in heating method, that we drop the magnet, we hit the magnet strongly using we may make use of a fire or use heating material like a boiling ring or electric stove or electric heater. We can place the magnetic material on the electric heater for a while, and you let it be for a very long period of time. This period demagnetize a magnet by restructuring or by rearranging its magnetic dipole. So this will be the end of our week 5, and then we'll quickly look into what we have in week 6. In week 6, we'll be looking into magnetic property of iron and steel. Magnetic property of iron and steel. We all know what iron and we all know what iron and steel are. Soft iron is pure iron. Soft iron is a pure iron without any impurity, while steel is an alloy of iron and carbon. Steel is an alloy of iron and carbon. Steel is much harder and stronger material than iron. Steel and iron have two different magnetic properties. Number 1, iron is more easily magnetized than steel, but iron loses its magnetism easily faster than steel. Let me repeat that. Iron loses its magnetism faster than steel, but iron can be easily magnetized than steel. Then the second property, the iron produces a stronger magnet than steel under the same magnetizing force. Soft iron is magnetized to a stronger degree than steel. Because of these reasons, steel is used for making permanent magnets such as compass needles, Iron is used for making temporary magnets such as electromagnetic, where strong magnetism is required only for short time. Hence, the core of an electromagnet is made of soft iron. We shall discuss further about electromagnet as we proceed. Iron nails are often used for laboratory experiments on magnetization and demagnetization because they are very easily magnetized and demagnetized. So magnetic screening or shielding. Magnetic screening is the practice of reducing the magnetic field in a space by blocking the field with a barrier made of magnetic material. Because iron is very easily magnetized, it greatly affects the magnetic field lines in its neighborhood. Magnetic lines of force thereby tend to crowd into a piece of soft iron ring as shown below. Look at the diagram very well. This is a diagram of magnetic screen. If you look at the center, you see a soft iron ring. This soft iron ring has hole as its center and two magnets are placed side by side, at one end of it and the other side of the soft iron ring. Then the magnetic field will travel from north pole to south pole through the soft iron ring. So since we all know that soft iron ring affect the magnetic field in its neighborhood, so the magnetic field will crowd on the side where there is the iron, but the side at the center where the iron is being cut off, the side that the center of the magnetic ring, the center of the iron ring is being perforated, so there is no space the magnetic field can travel through that. There's no how the magnetic field will travel through that particular hole, thereby making that place free of magnetic field. So that space you see at the center is a space shielded from magnetic field. The essence of this material this can be adopted in protecting an object that can easily affect by magnets, that magnetic field can affect its performance. You can place the object at the center of this magnetic screen. The magnetic field will not reach or will not touch or will not affect the performance of the object. So that will be the end of our class today. By next week we shall continue. I hope this is better than what we were doing before. We shall see on we'll meet by Thursday.